November 2018 marked 2 years of me being full-time running a business. And no, this video is not about me saying, oh, I've run for 2 years and I'm successful. Definitely not about that. I believe there is still a long way to go for me just to say that I'm successful. The purpose of me in doing this video is simply to record milestone and progress. I'm hoping that I can watch this video next year or even like 5 years down the road to see how far we have grown. I would also like to share some of the stuff that I've learned throughout the years. So for some of you guys who are thinking of setting up a business, starting out a business next year, you probably can learn something out of it, especially the creative guys. Acreativealt is a photography and videography company. We managed to find a niche in corporate events, produce end-to-end media contents for events, starting from the pre-events concept all the way to the end of the event, which is an event's highlight. It was actually started as a side hustle for me. I registered the company about 4 years ago, whereby I was still having a full-time job as a lecturer. I was pretty lucky back then, whereby an old friend and also business guru named Anna Malone actually introduced me to the job. I was lucky enough that my ex-bosses, Dennis and Giri, allowed me to actually work on external projects. The purpose of me in starting this business was simply to keep my skills to be fresh in the industry. Prior to being a lecturer, I actually spent good years in the events companies. I was a 3D designer, I was an art director, and I was a producer. I was pretty worried if I take a back seat as a lecturer, I will actually lose all my skills. I was hoping that I can give opportunities to my students back then. I was actually producing a lot of events creatives. I did 3D visualization, a bit of graphic designing, designing the backdrop, exhibition layouts, and so on and so forth. So naturally, when I started acreativealt, it was actually started as a design company. We created 3D visuals like this, and all the way to the actual productions of the events itself. We act as a creative supports for events companies. So throughout the years, I started to realize that the demand in terms of 2D productions, graphic design start to become lesser and lesser. Started to see many people actually moving towards the digital space, whereby they don't do a lot of printing anymore. If you look at like many events nowadays, they actually use a digital backdrop instead of a printed backdrop. So I started to see the decline in terms of demand on these types of creative works. It's pretty lucky that I met an ex-colleague and also a partner in this business. This guy here, Iqbal, I got a request from a fashion company. They asked me if we can actually do corporate video. And back then, I have totally zero knowledge in terms of cameras. Although I've done quite a numbers of video editings in the past and also a bit of animation, I collaborated with Iqbal to do this corporate video because I understand that he's an excellent photographer and videographer. So of course the project was a success, and I started to see more and more demand in terms of video production. Therefore, it's transformed acreativealt from being a design company, become a video production company, and eventually become a photography company. And also, I'm pretty lucky to have met Mr. Adam Peabody from Anufta Productions, whereby he actually given us the first opportunity for us to shoot a big events project that ended up become our bread and butter, whereby we shoot events, produce contents for events from pre-productions all the way to post-productions. 2 years ago, I decided to attempt on doing this full time, and it was really scary. Of course, every single month I was actually thinking of applying for a new job, but I didn't till today. For I will not say that we are actually making a lot of money from it, but we have grown a little bit. We have shot about close to 300 projects. We are definitely profitable. On the first year of running the business, we've gotten the projects from a government-related company. It was actually an animation project. The value of the project was actually $30,000. Back then, I was actually making about $50,000 a year as a lecturer. Gotten this $30,000 project that I assumed that I can complete in 3 months was actually a big deal. And at that time I was thinking, oh damn, I finally gotten a big project and I finally made it, you know, like it was a big deal for me. So I ended up didn't have a lot of time to work on this project, and I ended up hired a couple of freelancers, and I spent some amount of money to get a voiceover actress. The thing is, I actually didn't do proper budgetings and scheduling. So ended up this $30,000 projects, I only made about $7,000 in 6 months. So from that project, I realized that okay, revenue doesn't equals to profit. Sometimes the amount of projects can be pretty little, but the margins can be higher. Second thing that I've learned is actually related to the first one, whereby don't count the money before it's in the bank. One of the challenges about running a media-related company, always is new things, new technology to buy, like buying new cameras, new equipment, new computers, and so on and so forth. Like we always do certain kind of predictions. An example is, oh, by next month I will make another 10K. By next month there will be like $10,000 coming in, so I can buy this equipment, so on and so forth. And I started to spend money that is supposed to be coming in, but not in the end. And just to realize that sometimes, you know, like the money ended up doesn't actually come in. Throughout the years, I think we have like probably 3 projects that ended up the client actually didn't pay us at all, and I have really spent a lot of money in paying basically all the resources I spent for the projects, and at the end of the projects the client actually didn't pay us. So that of course counted as a loss, and my projections of profit is totally thrown out of the window. So that time I already spent the money to buy equipment, and now I think about it, it's kind of dumb actually. And I'm truly grateful that most of the clients actually are pretty nice. They always pay us. This was actually a rare occurrences. So 300 projects so far, only 3 projects that we actually made a loss, which I think it's quite a blessing. If the money is not in the bank yet, you shouldn't think of spending it. The third thing that I've learned was don't spend money in fancy office. You know, like there's a saying, fake it till you make it kind of thing. Well, in a certain degree maybe it's true, but I don't really believe in it. You know, like as a business owner, we always try to portray that we are successful, that we have made it so that people will trust us and we are bona fide and so on and so forth. And I met some new business owners along the way whereby they just started a business. They wanted to show that it's actually a big business, but actually having a really fancy address. For example, you know, like in Singapore, we always have Raffles Place, you know, all the CBD areas. I don't think it's actually a good idea to actually spend on a fancy office if you are not profitable. Some people actually disagree with me, but what I've learned so far, I don't think it's a good idea. So far, we are still running from this old-looking building that is really suitable for a horror movie and located in between a residential area. It's a pretty small office, but it's good enough for the team. We can actually have a meeting inside the studio. I can set up a mini studio on the side. I have a space for editing. I have space for 4 people to sit in the office. I have space to put all our equipments, the cameras, the lights, tripods, light stand, and so on and so forth. And the money that I spent to rent this space can actually be easily justified. The best thing about this studio is the fact that it's only about 10 minutes drive from my house. So I can go back to office anytime if I need to. I can put all my stuffs or my gears in the office, and if I go to the events right away from home, I can just simply grab some equipments in the office. Earlier this year, I was actually offered to take up this pretty nice looking office space, which is really big. Compared to ours now, ours can only fit about 4 tables, whereby we can sit 4 people here, which is actually more than enough for us. The office space that I was offered was actually a pretty good deal in terms of the size, in terms of the location. You can actually sit up to 20 people, but it actually costs 3 times of the rental that we currently pay. I decided not to take it because I realized that we don't actually have clients coming to the office that often. Most of the time I will actually go to the client's office. We don't actually do a lot of studio shoot since most of our projects are events. So whenever we have a studio projects, we actually rent an external studio. So I couldn't actually justify the numbers after certain calculations, so I didn't take the office. And I think back, and I think I was making the right decisions, because then I can actually use that budget to actually incentivize my team member more. The last thing that I've learned is actually to network selectively. And you know, there are saying whereby you only need contacts to run a business. Kinda true, but I don't really believe it 100%, in the sense that sure, your contacts will actually give you projects, but I believe it has to be backed up by your products. An example, let's say you have a few best friends and family members. I believe regardless how much they love me, I don't think any of them will actually hire me as a personal trainer. And I used to attend a lot of networking sessions. My mindset on the networking session was totally wrong. When I joined networking sessions, my goal was to sell stuff, which is completely wrong. I believe when attending networking sessions, the goal should be to give values to others. Nowadays, if I meet someone in a networking session, new people in an event or something, I will always ask them, what is the best recommendations that I can give to you? What kind of client that I can recommend to you? In the networking sessions, instead of trying to sell stuff, you should try to find collaborators. And being a small company, it's really hard for us to get big projects. As a small business, in order for us to get big projects, you have to collaborate with other businesses, collaborate together to actually create a big project. And lastly, you can't work alone. As a small business owner, you wear different hats and try to be the best at it, and realizing that we are not the best at all of it. Throughout the years, I started to understand which roles that actually fits me the best. I still shoot most of my photography projects myself, but in terms of video, I'm definitely not the best. So I have my colleague Sean, and he's actually a better photographer. So I was pretty lucky that I've gotten a good support from the team members, whereby some of them have actually worked with me since the beginning of the company, and so on and so forth. So that's all for today. I hope this video will be useful. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to know what we do, you can actually check out here, and I'll see you next time.